Yeah, we're back at it again. I bought one of these earlier, and this is the special one I was talking about. One of these hybrids. I noticed that Brad with Brad's Greenhouse made up his some lovely hybrids himself, so I put one in. They're all struggling to survive St. Crispin's Day. So yeah, I did some calculations, and roughly, on the back of the postage stamp sort of thing, with 50 years worth of experience, a 10 litre bucket of sand, we usually hold about 5 litres of water per se. It will vary, of course, because you've got that 10% interstice, so they will take in a little bit more water over time, but eventually it will plateau out, and roughly speaking. However, if you do it with a bucket of Koya, you know how much water's in there? A 10 litre bucket, there's 10 litres of water in there. And you think, how the heck is that possible to actually have 10 litres of water and Koya in the bucket at the same time? Well, it's all about surface area. Have you seen that video online about filling a brandy glass that's filled to the brim and adding pins to it? You know how many pins you actually have to add to the brandy glass before it sheds a tear, or a single drop of water? Usually, to get a single drop of water to run down the side of a brandy glass, it's usually well in excess of 1,000 pins. You know how many boxes of pins you have to put in to have 1,000 pins? Or it's usually over 1,000 pins you have to put into a standard sized brandy glass that's been brimmed. I've got some moss in there, I've got some liverworts, I've got one of our cypress plants here, over there, sort of thing. Put that in. So that's got basically twice as much water in there, so I put twice as much formula in there. So it's exactly the same formula, a sort of Irish peat concoction sort of thing. The only difference is it's all now attached to the organics of the bucket sort of thing. So we'll see if we get a different response, but yeah, remember, as the White Sox Sarah guys say, if you can grow a tomato, you can grow CPs. And we learned that basically all the commercial tomato plants are grown using Irish, peat, and in particular Irish peat. And we think there's a difference between Cypress Island, which is true copper island, and the island of Ayr, or island itself. And I think we're just gonna, I don't know what it is. We're on the end of 22 new millennium drought, which ended in 2021. So last year we had the rains return, basically, and we had all that flooding in New South Wales and so forth. Are we going to get another 99 to 2021, 22 year extended El Nino drought, where you usually have dry years right in the middle, and now we're going to go into a La Nina, or the little girl, I think, and it's going to be, it could be 22 years with wetter years right in the middle of it. Some people are predicting 200 years, but I think that's an error. I think it's 20 years, they've just put a naught on the end or something. So, so anyway, so I'll just set up the tripod, and we'll flush off a few of these and stick them in, I think. So you get the tripod set up, and we'll do the usual thing. Now, I've always been interested in shortbread from Scotland. I'm thinking, because I don't know if you know this, but shortbread's made with rice flour. I think, where the heck do they get rice flour from? Where do they grow rice in Scotland? Because it's extremely mountainous. They do have the lochs, of course. And I was thinking, well, did it come over from Marco Polo? So we got this one here. It was quite a nice looking sort of thing, but let's see if it survives this time. So we'll knock this out of the pot. I am on spot cutting too. So we'll see. We'll tickle the roots as we usually do, and we'll stick it in, and then we'll do some fly trap sort of thing. But the last one I did, the same thing. It's got this like jelly stuff, but the jelly stuff on the other one was more prominent. And see that jelly? Can you see it when it goes under the water? You can see it's a jelly. But anyway, pull that root out of there. So I don't know what they're doing. putting some sort of jelly in, and it's not like it's all the way through the pot. It's from the central bit out, so they're obviously pouring something on there, some sort of something that's jellified. So yeah, so we'll see how we go with this. And we just get all this muck off the roots, like we did last time. Clear it all away. Especially if it's, I don't know, if it's sugary or something, I don't know, we don't want that around the roots. It will cause mould and stuff, so we'll pull all these bits here out and get all that moss out of the way. And yeah, we'll go and plant it now. Okay, hopefully, dropping the camera or something. And we're going to stick it in and see if it can survive St. Crispin's Day. It's 33 degrees today, but now we've got a storm coming in. It's going to be 36 degrees Celsius tomorrow. So I think we'll stick this in the centre of the pot so it doesn't get too hot from any side or anything. So stick it there and put it down. And we're just going to keep this, well, got a seed there, that's a corn seed, a maize seed. So we'll just put it in like there and put the stuff around like there. And as you can see, you know, it's pretty stable, you know, with our coir in there. And it is black though, so it will get warm, I suppose. But it's got twice as much water in here than the other things, so it shouldn't get as hot. But, okay. But anyway. Okay, we'll take you down low with the thing before we do the next one. And so anyway, so there you go, with the liverwort and some moss in the background there. So I've tested out a leaf from a cape, and that hasn't fried off, so that's why I went back and did this. Can't believe it's the same formula. The only difference is, so does that separate this idea of peat and sand? Were they setting you up to halfway to failure with the peat and sand? Is that what it was all about? Getting you halfway to failure. So it was much easier for you, you know. And what's all the perlite about, really? Or is it just expensive sand in a way? It's a way of paying for all their sundry items in the nursery bay with expensive sands. Basically, they're paying off all the plants and all their water and everything else by you buying the expensive perlite. So basically, when you buy the plants off of them, it's pure profit because all the plants have been fully paid for, all their components have been fully paid for, and yeah, is that what it's all about? Anyway, we'll see how we go there with that one there. So I think. People, the Capitani brothers said these are Venus flytraps in particular, very plastic. The ideal temperature is supposed to be like 28 degrees Celsius, I think. They worked that out sometime. Well, it was mentioned in the late 90s in one of the Victorian journals. So anyway, back to this point about shortbread and being made with rice flour and where would that come from. Apparently, they grew rice in the Carolinas for over 200 years. On plantations, basically, hungry plant plantations, or stations, I don't know. So yeah, very interesting. So we'll just, I think we got most of it off there. Much easier one with these ones, and we'll just go and prick some of these in. And I'm just thinking, I went looking at, was it Lenotti's soil book or something? Yeah, from America, first published in about 1930, many editions since then. And I was reading this book and I was thinking, it made me feel like the great Kevin Handrick was basically a bit of a fraud. He basically seems to have reproduced quite a lot of these parts of this book, you know, in his own version, you know, under Australian conditions, basically. But it sort of, I felt somewhat ripped off, and almost felt somewhat that he was a bit of a fraud. It instantly changed my opinion of him almost overnight, sort of thing. Just reading this book, it was just. But there were some lovely tables in there. They were showing things like cucumbers, beans, asparagus, tomatoes. You know what was common against all these things? They were all high, some very high nutrient plants. And I'm thinking, including in rice was one of them too, I'm thinking, that is very strange. So you're growing something that's supposedly high nutrient in these coastal plain soils, been doing it for like 200 years in these plantations, and yet you're calling it a nutrient poor soil. And I think something doesn't quite add up there, so we'll just pull the roots in there, push it down as far as we can, put it in there like that, and see how we go. A few things like that. That's the way I do it anyway. Just the roots are going to have to grow back anyway, you know. So put it down, get it in, push it down if I have to, sort of thing. Anyway, we'll give it a go and put them in and see what reaction we get. So put them in as far as I can. Yeah, that's a better one. Yeah, and just keep doing this and see what happens, you know. You never know, we might get a pleasant surprise. Will they survive St. Crispin's Day? Okay, take it down, do the usual thing again. All these plants survive St. Crispin's Day. It's going to be 36 tomorrow, and we're heading towards my George Washington birthday, when it's usually sometime around there. It's 46, 47, maybe 48. Sometimes we cuff a 48-degree day, so so go back and do another one. And so I think there's your answer about your rice flour. I may be mistaken. I'm quite happy to be re-educated, sort of thing. Let's see if we can take the camera down a little bit lower with the tripod and do the next one up close and personal. Let me guess. I've made a boo-boo somewhere. Hopefully we're getting true to life colour again. And we'll go from there. So do one more. I just put another 2 in there, and then put the other 2. Put the cape leaf cuttings. I think I tested out the other day. I was pleasantly surprised, and I put some liverwort in there, and I noticed the colour of the liverwort changed overnight. The green of the liverwort wasn't so dark. It was a more sprightly, lively, thrifty looking green. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe that's what it is. We're all thinking they have to get darker and greener and, yeah, more like the classic look of a liverwort, but maybe not. There you go. So we'll see how we go. A few little tiddly pop. Maybe I'll put 2 more in there and put these little tiddly pops in the other pot. Yeah, there's 2 of them there. I'll see how they go in the other pot. And we'll go from there. So that might be the conundrum of the rice flour. It doesn't come from China, it came from the Carolinas. Okay. Maybe one over there, how about that? Put one over there. Put it over there for you. Hopefully the camera's doing its magic, I don't know. So you put it there so it's far enough away from the sun, do my usual thing. Push it down with the roots. I think some of the roots may have popped off there with that one. Oh well, it's got to learn to survive, you know. Is it going to be a survivor or not? Sort of thing. So yeah. So do another one. Might do another one there or something. Put it in there. See how we go. You never know. Might get a pleasant surprise. Might get a bucket full of fly traps by the end of the season. You never know. Anyway, I'll save the others for push it down a bit more. Save the others, and hopefully they should all, since they're so plastic, they should change. As the Capitani brothers said, many years ago now, they're very plastic, these fly traps. So, and these just, I don't know. As I said with that other one, one of the pictures went white for about a day and then started colouring up again. So we might have the same effect here. If we can keep that one alive, then we should be home and hosed, hopefully. But we might get a few surprises. But at least there's twice as much water in that bucket. It's hard to believe, but if you go online, look, type into YouTube the brandy glass and pins sort of thing, you'll probably get a couple of videos pop up. Very interesting indeed. So yeah, well, the moss is surviving and the liverwort's surviving, so you know it's already had a day at 33 degrees in there, so we should do all right, I reckon. But I don't think you want to use sand. And as I said, with all this 50-50 peat and sand, were they really halfway setting you up for failure sort of thing? You were halfway to failure, halfway from success sort of thing. I wonder. But anyway, enough of that. And I'll see you in a few days' time with the results, I suppose. Okay, over and out. See ya.